Vito Show. I'm your host, the One Man Show. Don Vito, how y'all doing today? How's everything? Today is Hump Day, and we're gonna do a big show today. We got this interesting young lady coming on the show, and I had to get on the show because the thing that she's fighting for is real big, and we need this. We've been needing this for a very long time. We got a lot of people that's incarcerated and who have a lot of time just for like things that, you know, you do a crime, you got to do time, but they got some time that's like ridiculous. Like the criminal justice system is trying to get rid of them for good, no matter what. Some crimes are violent and some crimes are non-violent, but these people we looking at got like 20 to like 30 something years in prison. And this young lady right here, she's the type of person that cares about people that's incarcerated. Her name is Karen Morrison. She's the president and founder of Fighting for Freedom. She's about to come on the show. She's an amazing person. You know, she has a big heart and she cares about people. And she's going to make a big difference in the years to come with people that's been locked up for a long time and people just wrote them off. They forgot about them. They don't look out for them no more. You know, it's bad, you know. It's a bad feeling when you're incarcerated and, you know, you don't have no love out there in society. And the people that say they love you don't do nothing for you. So you're just sitting in there rotting away and just praying and hoping, and sometimes you even cry. Just they hope that one day, you know, you will come home. You know, some love will come somewhere. You know, God will bless you. But she's about to come on the show right now, ladies and gentlemen. So thank y'all for tuning in. About this interview. This is a big one right here. Very big. Hey, Karen.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling fine.
You feeling fine? How was your day today?
Oh, my day was great, just really busy. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Listen, thank you for coming on the show. And I had to have you on the show because the stuff that you're doing and the things that you're working on is very big, and a lot of people hear about it, but they don't know about it, and we're gonna bring the light to it today.
Yes.
You know?
I can't wait to talk to you.
All right, so let me ask you a question. So let's start from the beginning. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Jamaica, the islands, and I grew up in the Bronx, New York. I have an older sister by the name of Claire, and I have a younger brother by the name of Richard. And I need to shout my brother out because he actually has a Black-owned clothing line called Rich Kid Clothing Line.
All right, shout out to your brother.
Yes, so and it's right there in the Bronx.
Right in the Bronx, huh? So you grew up from Jamaica, but you came to the Bronx.
Yes, I came to the South Bronx first in 1977. So people are probably going to try to do the math to figure out how old I am. But yeah, I came to this country in 1977 when I was 7 years old, and we grew up in the South Bronx. And then eventually my father bought an apartment building in the Bronx, and my brother and sister, my mom and dad lived there and went to school in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm. So how was life growing up as a young lady from Jamaica, starting off in the Bronx?
You know, it was kind of difficult because kids used to tease us because we had this really thick Jamaican accent. And I just remember my mom telling us, you know what, kind of lose the accent for a little bit as you kind of go through school. So that's why I sound like this. But I'm 100% Jamaican. And eventually, you know, I started out in public schools. And then I went to St. Barnabas High School, a Catholic school, where I actually was able to go to school with my cousin Jennifer. And so Jennifer was the one who introduced me, kind of brought me out of my shell. And, you know, we've been in each other's lives for over 30-something years. So shout out to my cousin Jennifer.
All right. So which school did you attend when you was in the Bronx?
So I started off with PS 70. Then I went to PS 76 on 80 Avenue. From PS 76, I went to junior high school 135, Franklin D. Whalen. I got to say this, you know, I think that's when I probably started coming out of my shell, and I ran for vice president. So I was the vice president of the student body and kind of, you know, fell in love with politics there. And once I graduated from junior high school 135, I went to St. Barnabas and continued on the student council for St. Barnabas, and, you know, just did really well academically.
Okay. So when you keep saying coming out your shell, What do you mean by coming out your shell?
So as we talk, you're gonna hear about some of the work that I do, but I'm like behind the scenes. So that means that's my shell when I do
Okay.
things where people don't even really know it's me. I perform well better just when I'm able to concentrate and not really have the limelight. But now that I not launched my nonprofit, I'm just gonna come out and start talking about the work that I've been doing.
All right. So, how did you get started advocating for unjust sentences and wrongful convictions?
You know, that's a great question. So basically, I was in college in Norfolk, Virginia. I went to Old Dominion University. And while I was at ODU my freshman year, my sophomore year, I started hanging out with some, people that were selling drugs. And at the time, you didn't really think anything was really wrong with it because we were college kids. We were having fun. They were making money. There was really no jobs here in Virginia.
Mm.
And so, long story short, one of my friends, Dwayne Wilkie, got killed in 1990. And so, after his death, I just threw myself back into school, stopped doing the partying scene, and just really focused on my career. And fast forward, it was about 2010. I had already gotten a bachelor's degree, a master's degree in education.
Mm.
Again, I was doing really well in my career. And I had like I don't want, I'll term it like a meltdown. I got super depressed and I couldn't even work. So I
Mm.
took some time off from work. And about 2014, I was, believe it or not, at home one day just on the computer, and I happened to go on Facebook and I saw Corey Jacobs. And so when I saw Corey Jacobs on Facebook, I sent a message and I was like, hey, I haven't talked to you how long, and how long, how are you doing? And the person responded, Corey is incarcerated.
Mm.
So at the time, I wasn't really interested at all in criminal justice. I'm just home trying to get my mind right so I could go back to work. I have a family at this time. I have 3 kids. And so I decided to just kind of reach out to Corey. And immediately, my first letter to him was, Corey, I don't know if you remember me, but I've been angry with you for so long because Dwayne died. And I felt like he and a couple other people that were involved with Dwayne that was really close had something to do with not necessarily his death, but because the life that they were living, Dwayne lost his life.
Okay.
And so I just kind of said, I hope you forgive me. I've been angry all this time, but how are you? And so Corey immediately wrote back and told me that, he was in prison serving 16 life sentences.
Dang.
And I said to myself, 16 life sentences, what does that mean? Like, what did you do? How many bodies are in your case? Like, what is this? And he was like, no bodies. He never killed anybody. It was a nonviolent case. Just got caught up in the wrong situation. And so immediately I said to Corey, well, what can I do to help you? And so I always say that we got on this journey of freedom. And for like 2.5 years, or about 2 years, I just kept writing to law schools, to public defenders, all kinds of attorneys to see who can help Corey get out of prison. And I always think of it like I got about 137 no's. He's never coming out of prison. You're wasting your time. He's got 16 life sentences. It's unheard of. Anybody with 16 life sentences, Corey's going to die in prison.
Wow.
And so for some reason, I'm going to even share this. My friends told me, you're wasting your time. He's not coming out. They were like, give up on him. And I just had something in me to say, Corey's not going to die in prison. I'm just going to do whatever I possibly can do to help him. And so around 2016, I was able to reach out to an attorney by the name of Brittany Barnett. And I told her about, Corey's case. And at the time, Brittany was heavily involved with a few cases and she just really couldn't take it. And I kept every few months or, a couple weeks, I would say, well, how's it going? We still need your help. And I want to say I always get the dates confused, but I think by April, May of 2000, I think it was 2014 at that time. No, I'm sorry, like 2016, she replied and was like, I just got a victory. She won the case that she was doing, Sharonda Jones. And I said, okay, well, are you ready to talk to Corey now? And she said, yeah. She was like, call me back after the new year. We spoke. I connected her to Corey Jacobs, and it was history. After Brittany took Corey's case, Corey was able to get clemency from President Obama, and he's now free. He beat 16 life sentences. So Corey was my first big case that I advocated for.
So let me ask you a question. So Brittany Barnett, lawyer,
Yes,
you were the one that plugged Corey into her.
that's correct. I'm what
But
they
no
call
one,
it.
no one mentions that she gets all the glory.
I don't want to say that because I have a lot of love for Brittany and I have a lot of love for Corey. What happens is there's a certain, story that they want to put forward into the public. And I'm very respectful of what it is that they do because they just know the narrative. They know the case
Okay.
better than I am. I'm what you would call an advocate. I advocate for people's sentences to be overturned or unjust sentences. So I come in and, like you said, plug them together. But the attorney does all the work. And with Corey's case, I'm going to tell you one thing. Brittany and I became really close. And, there was nights that we were burning the midnight oil. She gave me a lot of respect. We did a lot of work together. No, so she absolutely gets the glory because it's her thinking, her strategies, everything that she did worked in order to get Corey released from prison. My name is just like an afterthought.
Yeah, I heard a lot of great things about Brittany Barnett too.
Yeah,
A lot of great
she's
things there.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. And the one thing that I love about Brittany is everything that she does is from her heart.
Right.
She'll tell, her own story, but a lot of the work that she does is through her own pockets. She does a lot of pro bono cases. And, you would never know that the case is a pro bono case because she treats every client like if they're $1 million case. She's just a wonderful attorney. She's very passionate of what she does, and she's winning. She's getting people out of prison with life sentences. And I just thank her for the experience because with me being under her wing, I was able to see different strategies that I now use when I advocate for people here, that's having unjust sentences.
Right. So most organizations advocate for cases that are safe. However, you are taking on the most difficult cases. What drives you to tackle cases that are difficult to get overturned or results in person release?
Yeah, I just feel like I have a divine spirit that is helping me and that's guiding me through these cases. Like you said, a lot of organizations do safe cases, a lot of nonviolent cases, like Corey Jacobs' case was nonviolent. There was no murders or bodies in his case. And everyone has carved their own lane. But then I said to myself, what about cases that have violence? What about people that have committed murder? We're taught to forgive. And if we forgive, then we should forgive a person that have taken a life. I believe in second chances. I believe that there are circumstances surrounding why a person might have killed another person. And there are cases that are so unjust that the person didn't even kill the person and they're still doing life in prison. So I decided to tackle the hard cases like Jennifer Jeffley, who is completely innocent. She was 15 years old and she's serving a life with parole sentence. Jennifer has now been incarcerated for over 24 years, and I'm really excited about being her advocate because now we've locked arms with people that are on our team, and we're working to get Jennifer Jeffley out of prison.
Wow, that's big. That's big. So
Yes.
you work with organizations like Cut 50, Reform Alliance, the Ladies of Hope Ministries, Candle Foundation, Interfaith for Human Rights. Why did you start your nonprofit Fighting for Freedom?
I started my nonprofit organization because, number one, all those organizations that we mentioned, I love every single one of them, and I'm still connected to each and every one. Like, I'm actually the national organizer for Cut 50 here in Virginia, and I sit on the board of the Interfaith Action for Human Rights to try to end solitary confinement. But I decided to start my own nonprofit organization because it would give me my own autonomy and I could pick super hard cases that I really want to advocate for without anyone, shying away. Some of these organizations shy away from cases like what I'm really interested in. And so with me doing Fighting for Freedom, if I want to do a double homicide case, if I want to do a case with, self-defense for a murder, I don't have to sit or ask anyone permission to advocate for these people. And, I'm the founder, I'm the president. And so I do have a board and we make decisions. I have a vice president by the name of Edward Sims, and we decide on cases that we want to take. And, I decide if I want to do a pro bono case or if I want to find an attorney for this person's case. So it just gives me my own leadership role in my own organization. But I'm still locking arms with all those organizations that you mentioned.
So all of these organizations are basically fighting to get inmates to come home or to better the conditions inside the prison, right?
They do everything. Reform Alliance does things where they have received money and they're putting masks in prisons because they're not safeguarding our people that are incarcerated right now. Cut 50 helps with policy. Their mission is to cut the prison population by 50%. And interfaith, we try to work with ending solitary confinement because we just believe that someone should not be in the hole, and things like that. The mental health is a very important part of someone being incarcerated. And when you put a person in solitary confinement for years, because they only tell you, oh, it's only 30 days or whatever, but there are people in solitary confinement for a very long time. So we want to work to end solitary confinement. So even though I'm the president of this nonprofit, I still do work with all the organizations that you mentioned.
Cut 50, does it have anything to do with 50 Cent?
No. but listen, shout out to 50 Cent if he wants to donate money to my organization, because like right now with COVID, we're doing everything possible to help get people out. And I need a staff, I need a team, I need paralegals, I need people that are writers. So yeah, tell 50 Cent, holla at me.
So can you name about how many people you helped get out of prison and their names?
I lost count.
Right.
and probably one day I need to kind of just sit down and write down these names. But I'll tell you, it's probably maybe about 20 to 25 people.
What's the last 5?
Oh my gosh. So let me tell you about this exciting case that I just did. And again, working behind the scenes. I don't know if you know the gentleman, Wallace Rice. Wallace Rice was down on, like the Frank Lucas, Nikki Barnes indictment.
Mm-hmm.
And Wallace Rice came to me through another organization that I work with called Second Chance for Real. And shout out to my boss. His name is Tommy Walker. I'm going to tell you about Tommy. So Tommy said, here, Karen, I want you to do this case. And I'm thinking, okay, cool, no problem. So he doesn't tell you who the person really is because, you don't want to judge a person. You just want to do what you can to help. And so I remember when I got Wallace Rice's case, right? I read it, and the first thing I saw was an 87-year-old man who had been incarcerated for 37 years. And so many of his family members had died. And here it is, 37 years. He got up every single day knowing that he had a life sentence and he wasn't going to come out of prison. Right. And so as I'm writing, I do the compassionate part of the draft of a motion, right? I can't say, it's a pro se motion. Yes. And so I do the compassionate side. And I remember just saying, for 37 years, he got up knowing that he was sentenced to death, but he used his time to completely rehabilitate himself. And that's what the prison system needs to be about. So why should we allow him to die in prison? He's not the same person he was when he was incarcerated at the age of 50. Mm-hmm. His whole life was taken away from him. He didn't succumb to the violence that are sometimes in the prison. He was a model prisoner, and he did everything right. And so we pleaded with the judge with the compassionate side, and Tommy did the law side, that laws have changed after his incarceration. And the judge actually felt the motion and assigned an attorney to Wallace Rice's case. And then Tommy and I communicated. Tommy communicated with the lawyer firsthand, and he called me and he said, we just got a victory. And I was like, what? He said, Wallace Rice. And at that time, he said, well, let me just tell you who Wallace Rice is. And I was like, oh my God, are you serious? We did that? Because I didn't know. I thought it was an 87-year-old man who had all the charges in the case, and everything, but you don't know who the conspiracy is really with because he didn't give me that information. He does a synopsis for me and then I write. And I was like, really? We just did that? And so I was excited about Wallace Rice. Right now, I have a couple cases that are in front of a judge. You asked me the last two. So I have been advocated for Shanita McKnight. Shanita was incarcerated for obstruction of justice. She was a police officer. They sentenced her to 20 years. I advocated for her for about 3 years, and Shanita McKnight walked out of prison in May after serving like 12 years. And
Wow.
then there's Daryl Solomon Hope. He was incarcerated for life. He did 30 years. We were able to help him get out on compassionate release. Again, advocating for him for 3 years. And let me just tell you about Daryl's case. Daryl's case, when I first read it, I was like, oh my God, I got to be his advocate. And I got that case through Can Do Clemency and Shanita McKnight as well. And I remember just asking all kinds of attorneys, hey, can you please help me? Daryl was in a dry conspiracy. It was a 3-day conspiracy, and they sentenced him to life. Who does that? You know, a life for 3 days and no drugs, no violence, no nothing. But he did 30 years, and same thing. He got out in May. And recently, again, a young lady by the name of Yolanda Deans, which, again, I did that through the Ladies of Hope Ministry. I got Yolanda's case in November. And so what I did with her was, again, she had an attorney. And so we communicated. She needed case laws. So I found some cases that, you know, were similar to hers, sent it to her. And she actually gave it to her attorney. The attorney filed it, and Yolanda was able to be released with a 30-year sentence. So I'm excited about her. And let me tell you about Unique. I hope Unique hears this.
What Unique?
Unique Mecca Audio. I'm going to shout myself out with Unique. Unique and I go back and forth.
You advocated for Unique?
I advocated for Unique.
Wow.
Absolutely.
He just came home not too long ago.
Yes. So with Unique, again, I think Unique, I was advocating for him for about 2.5 years, 3 years. And basically with Unique, you know, I'm going to tell it. I said I wasn't going to tell it, but I'm going to tell it. Unique, you know, when you're talking to Unique and you're communicating with him, he's like, Karen, find me an attorney, do this. And so, you know, I already knew that he had Brittany Barnett as his attorney. And so I'm like, Unique, I'm not doing anything else for you. You're going to stick with Brittany. You know, we'll communicate with her. I'll text her whenever you need to and things like that. And, you know, he used to say, you're not helping me. You're not doing anything. You're not my advocate. And I was like, I don't have to. You have the best attorney. Sit still. Just let her do her thing, because like I already knew Brittany was going to do her thing and get Unique out. And so, yeah, Unique is out of prison.
Wow.
Absolutely. Mecca Audio,
huh?
Yes.
That's my man. You know, I know him before he went away and stuff like that. All right, so you advocated for Unique. Okay, that's big. But a lot of people don't know that, though.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. And, you know, I don't want to take anything away from him either, because he actually has an advocate who got in touch with Brittany. But at the time when Unique was looking for an attorney, that's when I was like really close to Brittany. And so we would consult about Unique's case. And I absolutely said, you should take his case. You know, Unique is a good dude. He's been incarcerated for a long time. I don't believe in life sentences. I don't believe people should die in prison. I'm absolutely against the death penalty. If a person is incarcerated and they're remorseful and they do their time and they're not the same person, I'm definitely going to advocate. I'm really passionate about what I do. And some people say I'm obsessed with what I'm going to do, but it takes a lot of energy to fight for people's freedom. And I just believe in victories. And that's really what I want to see. My joy comes from knowing that I was there with a person, whether, you know, we communicated or whatever I do to help and they walk out of prison. That's what gives me joy.
I got a question. Do the people that you helped get out of prison with all that time, do they circle back and just say thank you? You know, I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Yeah, they circle back and they say thank me. And, you know, some of them we have relationships where we can communicate, and then some people just kind of go their separate ways, and I don't communicate with them. And you know, it's hard because sometimes you wake up in the morning and, you know, you get on your email and you look forward to their phone calls, and, you know, you're like in the trenches with them every single day. You know, some of these cases I'm doing 3 years, some cases I'm doing 2 years, you know, so you become bonded to them. They become family. But what I've begun to do now is kind of learn how to detach myself, because when they come out of prison, you know, they have their lives. 30 years is a long time for them to be robbed. They have families, they have loved ones. And so, I just check on them every now and again. And, I shout them out. And let me tell you about another case that I advocated for. I don't know if you guys know him, but his name is Clinton Matthew. His street name is Eastwood. So Eastwood was around the same time as Corey. And
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you about Corey. He can call me if he wants to, but Corey was like, Karen, I'm still in prison. There's no reason why you should be advocating for anyone else. I need you to concentrate on my case and whatever. And I used to be on Instagram and I used to do #rogue or whatever it was that I was doing. And I'm gonna tell you, Corey always had some type of spy on me, and he'd be like, "Oh, you think I don't know what you're doing, but I know what you're doing." But when you start advocating for people's lives and you fall in love with this, and you know that you have a winning spirit and you can do what you can to help, you just want to help people. It was natural for me, so I actually advocated for Eastwood, and Eastwood got out. We turned back in, and he advocated for his Codys too, like Andre Nelson and Banna. So it's like I love what they did because they pulled themselves out, but they also went back in and pulled other people in.
That's
and
cool.
I'll go back to Corey. Like, Corey did an amazing job when he came out. He actually co-founded the Buried Alive Project with Brittany Barnett and a couple other people, and he's doing great. They're winning. They're getting people out of prison with life sentences. So I always got to say kudos to the work that he's doing as well.
Right. Okay. So there are many people who advocate for justice, but can you please discuss how your strategies for tackling these issues are unique? What makes you different, and how do you build connection with your clients?
Yeah. So basically, again, I'm carving out a lane that is different. I'm going to tell you about a case that I just recently came across, April Barber.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to tell you, because I don't even know if you knew how I found the April Barber's case. So basically, I was on Brittany Barnett's Instagram, and I was reading some of the comments, and I saw someone had said April Barnett, free April, April Barber. And, I clicked on the Instagram, and then I started to see the picture. It was like a new Instagram. And I became really curious about the case, right? And I know, like, the person that was pushing, there wasn't really getting a lot of feedback from it. And so I was like, you know what? This is a case that's going to be really challenging. And you know what? I want to help. And so I hit that person up, and I found out it was Vernon that was out there pushing for April. So I'm so happy that we've locked arms, and we're definitely doing that we possibly can.
Yes, because April Barber has one of those unique cases that is like, out of all the cases you hear cases about drugs, you hear cases about violence, you hear cases about guns, stuff like that, but you never hear cases about someone dying because of a fire and stuff like that, So I just felt like, she got 29 years in the system, and people need to hear about this lady.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And let me tell you, I'm going to try to get the answer in with this question about what makes me unique and what makes me different. Is, again, I don't shy away from difficult cases. And because, we talk about redemption, we talk about rehabilitation. So why are we throwing away our people? Why are we leaving them in prison for something that they did? And why I gravitated to April's story was because she was 15 years old. And by the way, so when I told you about my degrees is in education. So I was a school teacher. And I could think about a 15-year-old that was in my classroom. Mm-hmm. And what could be some of the things that she was going through. And when you and I talked, and I found out that both her parents were incarcerated. She was growing up in an environment that wasn't really conducive. Like, when we talk about other people, our counterparts, they have it. They have the big homes. They have the best education, and so they're nurtured, they're loved. And all I could think about was this 15-year-old young lady that didn't have the right role models, was looking for love. She had someone that was 30 that was influencing her, was leading her, talking to her. She's not she's not developed yet as a 15-year-old, easily influenced. Mm-hmm. And what she did was out of love, and guidance and love, and so my understanding about the case is that it's a double homicide. Two people died. And some people are like, no way, we're not touching that case, we're not going to help. But think about the circumstances of how she was growing up. But she was incarcerated. She could have went in there and just been a menace to society. Never did anything productive, fell prey to the environment. But for 29 years, she got up every single day. And my understanding is she has more degrees than I do, more certificates than you can ever imagine, and has just used her time to rehabilitate herself. So knowing that she has life, even if it's with the parole, she still won't be eligible for how many more years, but she used her time to say, hey, give me a second chance, because when I come out of prison, I'm going to do really well. Yes. And so that's why I'm excited to be locking arms with you. We're going to be talking more with the Ladies of Hope Ministry on how we can literally get involved with April's case and be her advocate.
Yeah. And I really believe that April will be home soon with the right push and the right support team,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And now that you mentioned team, I want to say this to you too. A lot of this work, like you said, I'm coming from behind the scenes to talk about the work that I've done. But every person that has been incarcerated that I've helped get out of prison, they actually have a team. When I became Corey Jacobs' advocate, he had people in place, but they just didn't know what to do, right? And so, again, I got to respect Corey, because Corey made a decision that he was going to bring me in close, and him and I would work closely together. I would tell him things that was going on, and, he would tell me things that was going on with his case. But we had people like Kevin Wales, who, has been Corey's friend for like a long time. He was on our team. Nathaniel Miller, who is Corey's best friend from high school, was on his team. He had his uncle Champ and his nephews Billy and Anthony were on his team. And then I also want to do, shout out to people that were there before, because there were people that were advocating. Like, to me, when I say journey, it's a journey. It's like you passing a baton. Some people get tired. Like when you first started the show, by the time I started advocating for Corey, I think he was like in his maybe 14th year, or yeah, I think it was his 14th year. Yeah. And, people had been there, and just me getting the case information from someone that sent me all his files, and so I always say the whole entire journey to get Corey out was done because he locked arms with team people. And, Hitman Stevie J locked arms with us, and he helped us push Corey's story out. Little Zane locks arm. Jimmy from his group locks arm, and Brian, I could just name a whole bunch of people, Chef Delroy, and people don't understand, like, you can't do this by yourself. You have to spread awareness. And so now I'm on teams like Jennifer Jeffley's team. I'm on Matthew Russian's team. I'm on all kinds of teams, just doing what I can to help people get out of prison.
Right. That's big. Are there any challenges that you face while advocating for people?
Yeah. It takes a lot of time to do this. And what I'm realizing that, like I told you, I have a family of my own. I have 3 kids, and, thankfully still they're in college. I've been married for like 25 years. Oh, wow. And yeah, it takes a toll on my family. And, I told you, I'm telling it all. So let's get raw. Yeah. And I remember when I was advocating for Corey.
Right.
I remember I told you I was like depressed. I had been out of work, and my husband was giving me money to buy groceries, right? And I came up with a unique way to keep the cash so that, I could use it to make paper print copies for Corey or stamps or whatever it is that I was doing. Corey was in the process of writing books. He had like a women's book. He had children's books. He had all kinds of stuff. And what I was doing, I was using the cash, and I was doing that, and then I was couponing. And I became really a good couponer. So I was coming home buying groceries like 25 cents, less than $5. And, I remember it took a toll on my marriage to do it, because you're sitting here, your husband is telling you, I'm not going to lie. My husband was like, yo, you wasting your time. He's not coming out of prison. And then we were bumping heads, and Corey and I was arguing and everything. And he was like, why are you doing this? My family was like, why are you doing this? Like, leave him alone. He's going to be fine. And I just would pray, and I would be like, you know what? God is telling me, no, I need to be here. And the heartbreak and the challenge came, you know, like when Corey got out of prison, like 10 days before he got out of prison, we stopped talking, you know.
Wow.
And yeah, and that's a challenge, you know, because here you are telling all the naysayers, no, I got this. Everything is going to be fine. When we come out, you know, we're going to lock arms and we're going to continue on the path, and we're going to help people get out of prison, and we're going to keep doing this because, you know, we've assembled a great team. And to me, those are some of the challenges that you have to not be so invested in people's lives. Just come in, help them get out, and just, you know, just keep it moving.
That's kind of tough, though. You know, I understand, you know, you being humble and stuff like that, but, you know, when you ride with somebody for a few years and you're trying to help them to come home, when they got a crazy sentence, will look like they would never come home ever, and it start to interrupt in your family life and stuff like that. You know, if you did that for me, if I was in that position, I would be forever your friend.
Yeah.
You understand? For real. I would call her, hey, Karen, how you doing? I the family every so often, because you are, if you're not the reason, you're one of the reasons why I'm home. And I had numbers that would just, that's like buried me in prison. I don't understand that one. I don't agree. I don't like that.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm gonna listen, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not the easiest person to get along with because I have my own way of doing things. And even now I bump heads with my vice president because, you know, like I'm saying, like my vice president been incarcerated for like over 34 years. And so he's new, and you know, I like working with him because he's got a brilliant mind. But there's things that I see. There's things that I want to accomplish. You know, like I'm gonna tell you this. I still don't believe that I should charge people to do the work that I'm doing. You know, if I'm a nonprofit, like I don't want to charge. But like right now, you know, his idea is we got to charge our clients. And so while we build, I told him, I'll do it now. I'll do it your way. But eventually our clients, I'm not going to charge them. We're going to do pro bono cases, but we're bumping heads, and I do sneak behind his back and I take pro bono cases because at the end of the day, like if a person doesn't have the money, am I not going to advocate for them? Absolutely not. So, you know, a guy, a man, you know, is going to say, well, you're not following my lead or whatever. But, you know, like I try to tell people that there's something unique about me. There's a vision that I have, and I see things. And even with Corey, when he was incarcerated, there was times that, you know, Corey was like, I'm never going to get out of prison. I'm going to die in prison. And I kept saying to him, I don't see that. Like, I see the vision where you're out and you're living your best life. And I just remember one day, you know, I was about to go to a bookstore to buy some copies for him because he had just finished his children's book. And he had called me right when I was going into the store. And I said, Corey, I see a vision that, you know, you're going to come out of prison and you're going to go live with Sean Diddy Combs, and you're going to forget about me. And he was like, nah, never that, never that. You're my twin, you know, you don't get that out of your mind, whatever. That's just something being negative. And he couldn't understand that, you know what, God has given me these visions, and I'm okay with it because it was already written that we were going to go our separate ways. And I just remember telling me, nah, you're my twin. Like, you're my eyes, ears, and hands, and never that. We are always going to be in each other's lives. And now we don't even talk. I don't call him. He don't call me. And I said I wasn't going to say, but I think we're actually blocking each other. Like, I know I blocked him. He blocks me.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, I say this because of the experience that I had with him and Brittany and everybody that has allowed me to come into their organizations. They don't have to trust me, but they do. And the people that I advocate for, like I love Jennifer Jeffley and I love her family. I was a stranger when I reached out to them and I said, hey, I want to be Jennifer's advocate. And they didn't know me from Adam, and they trusted me. And that's a value that I take highly. You're trusting me to come here and say, I'm going to advocate for your loved one. I'm going to advocate for your daughter. I'm going to advocate for your sister. And we're making things happen.
Nice.
And so to me, you know, those are the values. And then when I was working with Corey, I was suffering from major depression. And Corey taught me how to meditate. He taught me how to love again. He taught me how to love my life, love people. Like, I was taking life for granted, that I had a freedom. Because he would say to me, Karen, I would love to go get a McDonald's. Like, we would be on the phone and I'm driving to McDonald's and he would just listen to me order food and think about things like, Karen, you don't understand. You're able to go to McDonald's, or you can go to the movies, or you can do whatever. Why are you taking life for granted? And at the time, I wasn't even going to my kids' football games. I wasn't going to their honor roll assemblies. And mind you, Corey has kids, and he was like, "What I would give to be there with my daughter, or to be there with my son." And so that helped me to kind of spring out of the major depression that I was in. So I always say, he saved my life and I saved him. And, unfortunately, we don't communicate, but there's a spirit, there's a bond that, you were in the trenches with him and you actually was there. He saved your life, you saved him. And, those are memories you'll always treasure.
What do you wish more people knew about advocacy?
I wish more people knew that they can do it, and I think a lot of people are so afraid of just going out there and trying it and making it happen. And I'm going to shout out Matthew's Russian's mom, Laverne, because I saw Laverne out on Instagram, talking about justice for Matthew Russian. And I remember just getting so compelled because, again, I'm in Virginia, and Matthew went to ODU, and he's a, autistic young man charged with attempted second-degree murder for a car accident. And I just remember feeling like my heart just dropped to see his mom out there pushing and not really having any wing people to support her, but she didn't care. She got up every single day and she was fighting for her son. She was trying to do whatever she could to make money. And I mean, not make money, but raise money for the legal work for her son. And I'm thinking, all right, let me find her. I DM'd her. I went on Facebook and I found her, and she gave me her phone number and we talked. And I love what she's doing. If more people knew that they can advocate for their loved one instead of paying all this money for people to do it or whatever, you still need an attorney. I always believe that you should get an attorney, but make those phone calls. When I was pushing for Corey, I called law schools, I called pro bono attorneys, I called all kinds of people, congressional people, telling people we need to change the law. He's never going to get out of prison. And so to see what has transpired with him getting out, I'm like, okay, if I could help Corey with 16 life sentences, everything else is a piece of cake.
You're right about that, because I don't know too many people who got 16 life sentences.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, he had one of the biggest cases that I worked on. But just like, I'm going to shout you out, because when I approached you, again, you were just starting the April Barber case, and just trying to find direction. But your spirit was like, compel to say, listen, I'm going to help her. And so, to me, we've already talked, I'm just going to guide you. I'm going to try to help you connect to the right people. We're going to talk to the attorneys, but you're going to be her biggest advocate. You are her biggest advocate, because what you're doing is you're getting up every single day and you're coming up with a new plan. You're coming up with a new way to help her. And people don't understand. You have to be your biggest advocate for your loved one. I always use on my Instagram, stop sitting by the sidelines and waiting for the Brittany Barnett or the Kim Kardashian or the Meek Mill or whoever you waiting for, Jay-Z. These people, they're going to take cases that they want to take. But what about a family member who has a son that's incarcerated or a daughter that's incarcerated? What are you going to do if Kim Kardashian doesn't want to take your case?
Right.
Are you going to let them die in prison? And so, what I do now is, because I'm stretched so thin, somebody asked me the other day, how many cases do I really have? I have 28 for the Ladies of Hope Ministry. I don't know how many I have for my own, but I communicate with my people all the time. And I try to get the family members involved. Like, I have a case that I just took of a young man by the name of Marcus Young. And on record, his judge said, I didn't want to give you this time. His attorney was disbarred during the case, but yet he's still incarcerated. And so I told the mom, let's do it. I'm going to help do a conditional pardon for them. And also, I'm like, we're going to call delegates. We're going to call senators. I've already got her writing or talking to her family members. We're going to get like 50 support letters. We're going to create a home plan. But, you know, just teaching people how to be advocates for their own loved ones is definitely what I'm about.
Yeah,
I got to shout
and
out. Look, I see Wolf Mode out there. So let me tell you about Wolf Mode. I got to shout him out. He's like my bodyguard. You know, there's times that I'm on Instagram, I'm ready to go off because something has gotten me really, really upset. But he always kind of texts me and kind of helped me to calm down. So, hey, thanks for being on.
yeah, and when you mentioned Abel Barber, you know, the way that I got her case was like kind of like different, you know, because I tell you, I got the phone call and there wasn't no name attached, and I'm like, who the hell is that? You know, someone from prison. I thought all the guys, all the people I knew were home. So something told me to hit fiber, and that was God. And she happened to see me in a magazine with my show and picked me, and you know, my information was there and found me. You
Right,
know, and you know, her thing was she wanted me to just to talk about, to advocate for her on the show.
right,
And I didn't know I was being an advocate at the time, but I just felt some type of energy that I never felt before, just and compelled to help her. And I've been doing it. You know, a lot of people don't know, but we're going to put it out there now. I've been taking her phone calls and helping her and trying to get her to come home for the last 4 months straight. And I have a die-hard passion to do this. And then I run into you, and you know, we're building a team, and we're gonna make it happen.
absolutely,
And I thank
absolutely.
you very much. I really do.
Oh, you're so welcome. And you know, like you said, it's a unique situation because we don't know why we gravitate to the story. So we just asked me to kind of, you know, get like criterias of what cases we take and things like that. I'm thinking, you know what? How do you put down is spirit led? You
Yeah,
know, I,
exactly.
how do you say that this is a case that I don't know. Like I'm kind of going back and forth with the Corey Jacobs situation because he's my first one. But I remember I was sitting home just depressed, and I was on a computer, and then all of a sudden I see his picture appear on Facebook, and I'm thinking, why Corey Jacobs? Like, why now? We went to high school together. That was like in 1988. I hadn't seen Corey. Dwayne died in 1990, and that was the last time I saw him. And here it is. His picture is on my computer. And to me, again, that's divine led. That's God. That's
Right.
saying, Karen, you know, I don't want you to stay in this state for long. And when I reached out to Corey, we instantly connected from day one. You know, we communicated every single day. So I know about those phone calls. I know about those emails. And you become so passionate about helping a person, and you don't see, I didn't even hear the 16 life sentences. I knew it was a big deal. I
Mm-hmm.
knew it was like one of the harshest sentences that I ever came across. But something was telling me that this is what God wants you to do.
Yeah.
And the heartbreak, will, you know, we talked about the challenges, but the heartbreak was, in my mind, I just thought that you formed this team. It was an amazing team. We beat 16 life sentences. This is the
Wow.
team that I want to be on for the rest of my life because, you know, if we did this, we can do anything else. You know,
Yeah.
we did the impossible. And so to know that we went our separate ways, you know, that was my heartbreak. But I didn't let it stop me. 10 days later, I got myself up, you know, after I stopped talking to Corey, and I became an advocate for a gentleman by the name of Deshaun Dye.
Mm.
And Deshaun's case again, you know, let me take a few minutes to talk about Deshaun's case. So I was writing, and you know, I wear many hats. So I was writing for Gotham City, and that's Jimmy Nichols. He was my boss. And,
Uh-huh.
you know, Bugs, Mark Bell, introduced me to Jimmy, and he was like, there's an opportunity for you to write and to be passionate. And I'm like, Mark, I can't do it. I don't know how to do that. I don't think people are going to want to see my writing. And so he was like, just reach out. And so Jimmy put me in touch with Kelly Chapman, and she's the editor. And I call her my boss because that's who I communicated with, and I wrote some stories, and she was like, all right, come on, join the team. And they let me write what I wanted to write about. I wrote about juvenile justice. I wrote about Centoya Brown. I wrote about Miss Alice Johnson. You know, those are kinds of cases that touch my heart. And as I was doing that, I learned that social media is the way to go to get your stories out. And I remember writing about Marcellus Williams. See, people don't know that I was like actually involved with the Marcellus Williams story. So I wrote the story, and there was a lady by the name of Alice. I never know her last name. I think it was like Alice Park 25. And so she was really passionate about the Marcellus Williams case. And I DM'd her and I was like, hey, I just wrote this story. I think you would be great. And let's kind of lock arms. And within a few days, because Marcellus was going to be executed to death,
Wow.
right? And we only had a few days to do it. And so I'm DMing her and she's hyper and, you know, just not even getting any sleep. And Alice Park, I don't even know her last name. She literally single-handedly stopped the execution of Marcellus Williams.
Wow.
A person that didn't even know him. Somebody that's popped up. And so I was like, you know what, social media definitely is the way to go. And so, you know, people think that I'm on there because of likes. I'm not on there because of likes. I'm on there because I need you to read these stories and feel passionate about it and help. Because if we could save the life of a man that was 3 days away from being executed, and I'm not going to take anything from any organizations, because there was like the sister that is against death penalty. There's a bunch of people that have been working on the Marcellus Williams case for a long time. But I just know the energy that we put out there and the people that actually came in and helped. And, you know, Marcellus is now still fighting for his life, but thank God he's still fighting for his life. They were gonna kill him in 3 days. Yeah.
That's big. That's big. And I feel that, you know, if and when we get April Barber home, I'm going to feel the same way you feel. That'll be the first case that I help advocate for. And I'm going to continue.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to continue.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
And like I said, I kept her story real quiet because I really didn't know what to do, but I know that I had to do something. And she calls me every day at a certain time and talks to me, and I keep give her hope, you know what I'm saying? And I keep her spirits up and stuff like that. And then that's how I reached out. At first I reached out to, what's her name? Jennifer, what's her name? Jeffrey, what's her name?
Oh, just Jennifer Jeffley?
The one that works with Kim Kardashian.
Oh, Brittany Barnett.
No, the other one.
Jessica Jackson Sloan.
Jessica Jackson. I reached out to her.
Because
I sent them email. They never responded. You know? Then I saw your name on Instagram, and I said, let me shoot something to her. Anybody that was on there, I was shooting stuff to. And you responded. And I was like, wow. And I told April, and she's so happy right now.
Absolutely.
She's so happy.
Like, you know, again, the big organizations, I can't take anything away from them because they're doing a lot. Like Cut 50 with Jessica and with Van Jones, they're hitting the policies. And,
Right.
you know, we can't do what we need to do if they don't get those policy change. And again, I got to shout out my boss, Topeka Sam. If I don't say anything else, I got to say her name. Topeka is wonderful. Like, I was out on Instagram pushing, you know, just trying to figure out what I can do to save people and get them out of prison. And Topeka, I told her, I'm going to tell it. She actually DM'd me and was like, yo, come on, come work with me. And I was like, what? Are you serious? And ever since we locked arms, she's actually helped me. When I talk about my nonprofit organization, she encourages me, she inspires me. And, you know, when we work with the Ladies of Hope Ministry, like we did an interview for the Houston Chronicle about Jennifer Jeffley's case. And she was like, listen, you know, Karen is doing this. She knows what to do. She knows the cases, and she doesn't shy away from these cases. And a lot of these big organizations, they are like, no, we don't want to touch a homicide case or 2 homicides and things like that. And so, you know, I'm just waiting to be able to have an opportunity to speak with her and talk more about the April case. But we definitely got you. You know, we got you. This case is to my heart already. Because again, to know that April, you know, number one, she committed the crime, but she took responsibility right away. She didn't lead a chase. She didn't try to get away with it. She confessed, and she did the right thing. Should April have to die in prison for this? No. if we believe in redemption and if we're a nation of second chances, she was 15 years old when she committed this crime. She had no intentions to kill her grandparents. It was, her mind was thinking, we light a fire, we scare them. But at 15, you don't know about, I don't even think you can wrap your mind around someone dying at
Right.
15, and you don't know what your intentions are going to lead to. You're not even thinking about consequences right now. You're thinking,
Yeah.
I'm in love. This guy is in my ear, and, she was pregnant when she was incarcerated. She gave birth while she was incarcerated, and she was stripped of her child at 15, So it's
Yeah.
just a lot of things that is going to come into play. We're an organization that we're sympathetic to women. We're sympathetic to young girls. The Centoya Brown touched my heart. Her story touched my heart as well. Miss Alice Johnson's story touched my heart. So just to be able to be an advocate, lock in arms with you, I'm excited, and we are going to bring April home. And let me just tell you something else that I want to share. So another reason why I started my nonprofit organization, which you're not going to believe, all these cases that I've been winning, I have yet to really meet the people that I've advocated for. Like
Wow.
Shanita's in South Carolina. Yolanda, I think, is in, I don't know, Kentucky or someplace. I'm not even sure. But I helped them get out, and I haven't been able to hug them. I haven't been able to celebrate. Like Corey Jacobs got out of prison. I haven't even seen him. He walked out, and it's been like 3 years, and our paths have not crossed. So part of the nonprofit is, now I want to be able to have that experience that I help people get out, but I also want to meet them. I want to see them. I want to hug them. And so when I talked to Jennifer Jeffley, she was like, that's okay, because when I get out of prison, you got to be there. So now that, the president, I'm trying to get donations and trying to, raise money, I definitely want to start meeting the people that I help get out of prison.
I know what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to get you your own channel. For real. I'm going to get you your own. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to get you your own YouTube channel, just like they do on Oxygen when they talk about the prisoners and helping them. You can have your own channel, and you can just talk at least once a week, and you can just talk about a lot of different things, and people can tune in and listen to you talk, because I think that's something that you need right now that'll help your nonprofit. That's my contribution to you.
Oh, thank you.
Because you're helping me with April, and the love is there. I'm going to help you build that channel. And YouTube, a lot of people watch YouTube, and they'll see all amazing things that you're doing. Because Corey didn't tell me that you helped get him out. I asked him. I said, I need a lawyer for April. He was like, well, Brittany, I don't know if she's taking cases. He didn't say nothing about you. And I know him before he went away. He could have told me that, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Leave it like that. But at the end of the day, God works the way he works.
Absolutely.
And God brought us together to help April to come home, number one, and maybe other things that we can help people do,
Absolutely. And Vernon, I got to take some time to thank you, because, again, when we started talking, I told you, like, I'm in the shell, and I like to do things a lot behind the scene. And so I appreciate you. We were on a conversation talking about April with my intern, Louisa.
Yes.
And you were like, come on and do this interview. And I was like, no, Vernon, I don't want to do it. So I just got to thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk about the work that I do, and to elevate the platform that I do. And, I just thank everyone, my friends, my followers, people that I don't know, that, the support is real. Like if I go on there now and we start saying, I want you to support Jennifer Jeffley. I gotta tell you about this real quick, and tell me how much time we have, because
we got a minute left.
A minute left. Okay. Yeah. So like
we're gonna have to do a part 2.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Like with Jennifer Jeffley, when I went out there pushing, we have an entire team, like Keidra, Maury, Delisa, everybody that's out there, the family, Karen, Kimberly, her mom, and so we went from 25,000 Change.org petition signatures to over 1,125,000. And so I'm just so thankful for my platform. People, like, it's not about the like, it's about helping to spread the word. And now Jennifer has a real chance to come home. We have an attorney that's on deck now. We have a legal team, a gentleman, I can't tell his name yet, but we have somebody that is committed to helping Jennifer with the legal fees. And, so we're going to bring Jennifer home. We're going to bring April home. We're going to bring everybody that deserves a second chance. And I thank you, Vernon.
And you're most welcome. was about to cut off in a couple of seconds, but that's why I'm going to get you that channel.
Okay.
Because you got this platform now, but we're going to have a channel where people can connect with you on a regular.
Okay.
But,
and then people, listen, DM me. I'm approachable. You
there
know,
you go.
we'll talk about Advocate, and if I can't take your case, I'll show you how to do it.
There we go. Tom Vito Show. We got my friend right here, Karen Morrison, and we're going to see you around somewhere. Have a great day.